Hi everyone, I'm Uriah Kiser, founder and publisher of Potomac Local News. Alongside me here is Mark Worrilow of Fathom Real Estate, Fathom Realty. Mark, thanks. We are at one of our favorite places.
Absolutely.
We are at Barley Naked here in North Stafford, one of the best neighborhood breweries anywhere, bar none. Founded in 2018, now approaching nearly 10 years. They've been a staple of this community and one of your favorite hangout places.
Absolutely. My wife is Kathy is not a big beer drinker. So when I said, let's go try this, and I give you a little bit of background, showing homes, and guy I was showing homes to, I said, well, you want to go get a beer and talk about this? He goes, sure. So we pull up and head to the door. Door's locked. We're looking like, oh crap, it's Monday, it's closed. So we go back to our vehicles, and Barry's wife, Missy, the other owner, comes charging out the door. She goes, whoa, 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 where are you guys going? We said, well, we want to get a beer, but you're closed. She goes, no, that's okay, you can have a beer. We went, no, you're closed. So Missy drug us in here. Barry and Missy then gave us beers. We said, excuse us, what do you want? We did that. Okay, and Chris, my client, wanted to pay. And they were like, nope, that's okay, we're fine. So we're sitting there talking for a second, and he said, well, we're brewing. He said, so they had the tent set up. So, and again, this is sort of winter. So Chris and I go out there and sit down. Barry comes out and goes, so you guys want a cigar? Well, sure, I'm not gonna turn that down.
Talk about a way to make you feel at home.
Right. So he brings out cigar, lights cigars for us, and we're talking. Barry and Missy come out and they go, well, we're leaving. And they sit 2 more beers down in front of us and said, we're leaving, but take as long as you want. There are people in there. We got our, people are brewing beer for it. Our brewers are there. So, when you're done, just leave it here and take off. Well, Chris goes, no, we got to pay for this. I mean, he gave us cigars, 2 beers. He said, look, I'll tell you what, if you want to do something, if you want to leave something, we don't need it. This was our pleasure. We're happy to do this to you.
That's awesome.
If you want to leave something, we've got a brewing crew in there. We'll make sure that they get it. And so Chris, I was slow to open my wallet. I was like, seeing if Chris could outdo me, and he did, and left a tip for the brewers. So it was like, from that moment on, it was like, yep, this is the place we're going.
That's fantastic. And you will know that if you drive by. So it's located here at Garrisonville Road, Route 610, as the locals call it, Route 610, and Tech Parkway right here in North Stafford. And when you drive by on any weekend, generally in the afternoons, Tuesday through Sunday, you're gonna see not only the tap room full, but you're gonna see people on the sidewalk full. And I remember, to that point, driving through here during COVID, and I think there may have been more people on the sidewalks out here, than anywhere else in all of Stafford County during COVID. I mean, this was, and it was responsible and socially distanced and all the things that we had to do way back when. But that was, I think that's a testament to the way this business operates and the way it treats its customers. So that's why we're here today.
And the beer's really, really good.
Yeah, not to mention, it's fantastic. So, and the pizza's good too. We're having good pizza today too, Mark. Tell us about the pizza you brought in.
So my wife and I, growing up Italian, I'm very used to really good pizza. And so Kathy and I had different pizzas, different places. But for us, the best chain that we've found has been Vicelli's.
And they're also located here in North Stafford.
Mine Road.
North Stafford, mine at 610 here. So we're going to get into a lot of Stafford County today, hence why we're here at Barley Naked in North Stafford. We're going to talk about Stafford County. We're going to talk about how Mark knows the neighborhood, knows the area. You've been selling real estate here for years. You are an expert when it comes to these neighborhoods.
28 years.
28 years, helping people move in, move out, move on, move up in life, and that is why I'm excited to talk to you today here on the podcast. So thank you for joining us here. If you want more local content like this, please go to our website, potomaclocal.com, and sign up for our email newsletter, where you will see Mark's recommendations and Mark's properties. And Mark, there you can chat with Mark by going to his website, markworrilow.com. So you can go to his website, you can go to our website, get our email, and of course you can like and subscribe on this video to get more local content and support both Potomac Local News and Mark as you want to learn more about the community that we call Stafford County. So, this Barley Naked, we're here today because Stafford County has so many of these small mom and pop is what you always want to call it, right? That's what you call it. But these small businesses really are the fabric of the community.
They drive communities. They absolutely drive communities. It's really, people talk about large scale employers, et cetera, and that's true because a large footprint really brings a lot, to a community. But when you look at the fact that you have a large footprint of a corporation, that's great. But when you start to look at the smaller businesses, I think being a small business owner myself, it's a different thing because people are putting their lives, their livelihoods on the line, and not the big big box people don't care about their community. It's not the big box people don't care about their consumer, but the small businesses like Barley Naked, like so many other places. Even you say, well, Vocelli's is that's corporate. Yeah, but each one is owned, so you still have a small business owner.
Yeah, absolutely.
The commitment is to the community, and people risk a lot to start businesses like this. And so, the small business, the mom and pop, quote unquote, mom and pop organizations, I think when it comes down to it, that they live, eat, work, and spend in the communities in which they live, work, eat, and spend. And so I think it's really, really important that be recognized.
Yeah, we're gonna continue eating and drinking and spending here at Barley Naked, and we want you to stay tuned because we're gonna bring in Barry Boyd, who is the founder of Barley Naked. He'll be joining us here at the table. Mark will be talking with him here very shortly. But Mark, what do you think defines Stafford County today? It's a growing county. I moved into Stafford. I grew up in Woodbridge. We moved here about 10, 11 years ago, and I can honestly say Stafford County is not the same place that it was just 10 seemingly short years ago. Right. It has grown. What do you think defines Stafford today?
So I think there are a couple of things that define Stafford County. I think one is that we in Stafford, because I live in Stafford, okay? I am the state broker for Fathom, and therefore our office is at Quantico Corporate Center right there. That's where the office is located. So I'm part of Stafford. So what I think defines Stafford is the fact that, and this may sound a little odd to some people, but it's not Northern Virginia, but it's still Northern Virginia. The reach that you have in Stafford is anywhere from going to Woodbridge, let's say Stonebridge Shopping Center, or anything in Lake Ridge, up to Springfield. You can even with the hot lanes, get up into the Pentagon. People are still living here and going to the Pentagon. There are means through OmniRide to get to Tyson's. And it's a very easy shot down to Fredericksburg, even to Richmond, okay? Yeah. And so I think one of the things that define, to me, the world according to Worrilow, defines Stafford is accessibility and availability to enjoy things that are outside of Stafford by living in Stafford and still shopping and being part of Stafford. If the option is to go someplace outside of Stafford, it's an easy drive, it's an easy commute to go do different things. And I think the other thing that sort of, to me, defines Stafford is that it's in many ways a hidden jewel. There are so many different things here in Stafford to do, whether it's breweries, things along these lines, and different tourist attractions like Gary Melcher Center. I didn't know.
Yeah, that place is really cool.
It was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
the different ability to to spend time in parks. There are so many different parks and opportunities here. So,
not to mention the Potomac River runs along. I mean, it's Stafford is sort of at the confluence, and it's near the confluence of the Rappahannock and the Potomac rivers that run right by the county. So if you're into recreation, water, park, hiking, it's perfect place.
Absolutely. So I think that defines it, is that there's so many things here for people to do and to shop and to live, but yet there's that accessibility outside to where it's not a horrendous travel in routine, depending on traffic. Okay, I've got to be honest about that for Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
But I've lived in Lake Ridge, I've lived out towards Manassas, I've lived in Dumfries. There's nothing wrong with that. But when Kathy and I ended up buying a house, my wife and I ended up buying a house, it was in Stafford, and just south of Quantico. And again, being a Navy retiree, that ability to get to Quantico and to shop and to we go to the chapel there at Quantico. And so that's the ability of what Stafford offers is so diverse that I think I sort of look at it almost like a hub into Northern Virginia and into Richmond, that you can go so many different ways and get to different places for culture, for food, for entertainment, for business, for work. So and when we talk about having obviously you have your corporate chain stores here. Obviously, you have the big big Targets and the Walmarts, and but even the small shops are really what makes one of my favorites to eat is Rio Bellina. Robiolina's, yep, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a fantastic.
Got to do a segment on them.
Yeah. We'll be there drinking your beer and eating your pizza here very soon. But I mean, but like that, those types of restaurants. I mean, that is one of my favorites. I'll let you share one of yours. And there are so many, and we just had a new Basilico, Italian just open up here on 610.
There's a lot of cultural food too.
Yeah.
I've never eaten there, so this is not. But I tend to like Indian food, and so I'm looking forward to trying Taj, which is a relatively new. Barry's giving me the thumbs up.
Yeah.
But so and that's the thing too is, so if I look back in 1991, so yes, I am ancient. Okay, I am not the old man get off my lawn probably yet, but I'm that
you're working on that merit badge. You're working on that.
Yeah, that demographic.
You're working on it.
So I remember when I got here in '91, we lived in Lake Ridge, and I was working at the Navy Annex and then the Pentagon. Excuse me. And people would go, "You live in Lake? Oh, geez, crossing the Occoquan. How long does it take you to get to work, etc." And I remember there was somebody that lived out, down. I think it was just south of Fredericksburg or just north into Falmouth. And the running joke was they needed a visa to get into Arlington, to come to work. And now that's not the case. And so now, when you look at it, that has shifted everything too, whether it be the hot lanes, whether it be accessible housing, which Stafford has, whether it be the ability, because I remember you go to Stafford, when I got here, came down to Stafford, there was really nothing. My wife Kathy, when she moved to Falmouth, they were building Central Park. Well, now Central Park is huge.
In Fredericksburg, right across the river in Fredericksburg.
So I think that's been the change. I think that's, people are going, this is a nice place.
Yeah,
so.
And it is still changing. We are still seeing businesses invest here. We are still seeing new parks opening up and older parks being revamped. I think the county just recently, especially parks, last year, they recently revamped a number of parks and putting new playground equipment. I mean, I have two small kids, so but new trails, new amenities, and it really, I think Stafford County is doing a great job sending the message that they are making the community where there, as you said, where there was nothing here at one point, right? A very, very welcoming place to live, and by investing into its businesses, its amenities, as more people continue to move here. And I know we moved here from Prince William County South. My wife grew up here in Stafford. We're locals. It's weird, right? In Northern Virginia, do you find rarely locals, and we are local. My wife grew up here in Stafford. I grew up in Prince William and Woodbridge, and we, like many other people 10 years ago, moved here because it was just cheaper to live here. You know, you could have a larger home, more yard, more everything for what you would pay comparably, or even more up north. And so we've made our home here. We love it here. When people move here into Stafford, what are you seeing now in 2026? What's their reasoning to come to Stafford?
Okay. I got to say one other thing real quick though, and you brought it up. We didn't realize it, but friends of ours said, there's a dog park. We didn't know there's a dog. And so there's a relatively new dog park. And so we have being Navy, okay, when Kathy and I got our German Shepherd, his name is Leroy Jethro Gibbs. So we're looking forward to taking Gibbs to the dog park. But I didn't realize that. And it was like, evidently and again, probably in the next couple of weeks, that's where we're going to take him. But that's something that's relatively new. So when it comes down to people who buy here, one of the things that I find is that when they're doing comparison shopping, okay, in homes, etc., and they decide on Stafford for whatever reason, whether it's a little bit more affordable or it's closer to Quantico if they're working there, or any number, there are myriad of different reasons, even going to Dahlgren or whatever, is the fact that they will tell me, geez, I didn't know Stafford had this much. I didn't realize that I was so close to such and such. I didn't realize that there was, I was so concentrated on other areas that I didn't realize what Stafford has to offer. Now that's not to denigrate Prince William, or Spotsy or King George or anything, but that people, when they come here and they're talking to me, they go, geez, I didn't know. And I don't think it's for a lack of publication. I just think it's people they're not focused on Stafford like they get focused other places. So.
Yeah, and I'll also make a plug, and I will make this plug as an independent news guy, not a realtor, because the realtors can get touchy on this kind of stuff. But the school system, the school system in Stafford County is actually we're very impressed. My daughter, first year kindergarten, goes to school very near here. And we are very impressed with the school division. And as I travel through the region, especially areas south of here, the school division is kind of an envy of many people who travel around the area. So, and that's that's not to say other school divisions aren't great. There certainly are. We at Potomac Local cover all of them, and so we have a good read on how they're doing. But yeah, Stafford County, so far so good in the school division. So,
well, there's a reason I'm laughing. The reason I'm laughing is the fact that as realtors, and I'm not just talking about myself or any of my agents, etc., but realtors get asked two different questions that just for public consumption, I gotta let people know, we will get asked, well, what do you think about the schools? We can't tell you that, okay? And we say, well, there are other resources to go to. Well, yeah, but what about the school? We can't do that. The other thing, and I was chuckling because when you were saying that, the other thing we get, and I'm familiar with a number of different Prince William County police officers and dealt with Stafford County sheriffs, etc., was the neighborhood safe? I can't tell you that. That's something they have to do research on themselves. But Kathy and I have enjoyed living in Stafford. We've lived here 5 years, and we love it.
Yeah. What's a great resource for somebody who is looking to move, maybe not just to Stafford, but anywhere? What's a great resource where they may be able to go online and to find out the answers to those questions?
So, if you're looking for things like schools or safety or anything along those lines, what I preach to my agents, and I do a lot of instructing locally, statewide, nationally, is the fact that be the source of the source. So to tell somebody, look, if you're interested in information about a city, a county, go to that county or city's website. Okay, there are statistics there. There are places for them to look. if you are dealing with, if you're working with a realtor, realtors have something. We don't have a public-facing website for it. It's inherent just to, it's basically specific for realtors, something called Realtor Property Resource, which we can give you a lot of information from that. But if you're just trying to see, do some research on yourself, not on yourself, but for yourself.
Right.
Okay, is I would go to the local government website and do the research there.
Yeah, no, they do a great job about posting the stats, and whether it comes to crime rates or school test scores and things like that. The public schools, and it's interesting if you're moving to Virginia for the first time, the public schools are by county or city, and they sort of run their own operation within those jurisdictions. And so if you're coming to Stafford, it's Stafford County Public Schools, and of course the Stafford County government. And always you can go to PotomacLocal.com, because we also report on what happens in the neighborhoods. And of course those stats, they come out with every year, crime rate and then test scores and things like that. So it's a great resource, both on the city, county, and our website as well.
The reason I was chuckling too, Uriah, is because every once in a while you would get a call from me and I'll go, hey, I'm over here and there's a police chase going on, and your eyes like, what are you, a reporter or something?
That's right. And my next is, did you get a photo, right? Did you snap a photo? If it's, what does they say? If it's not on Instagram, it's a sham. So there you go.
I'm getting ready to put up a dash cam.
I love it.
So I might be able to do that for you at some point in the future.
Multifaceted guy here. Not only does he sell real estate, but he also knows how to chase the cops. That's great. I love it. That's fantastic. In this seat next, we're going to bring up Barry Boyd, and he's going to talk about what it's like running a business here in North Stafford, the community that has supported him over the years, and maybe some cool facts about his award-winning beer.
Okay.
Coming up next.
So Barry, cheers.
Cheers. It's good to see you, Mark.
Good to be with you, Barry. Good to see you. So for everybody's information, I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm crying today. Hopefully, as a Steelers fan, that you'll be celebrating.
Yeah, tonight.
But
today's Monday, the 12th.
Right. Anyway, so well, Barry, it's great for us to be here. You heard me tell the story about how I got associated with Barley Naked.
I remember that day.
And I've asked you this before, and so I know that you will have this answer.
Okay.
How did you get started with this? And your answer was?
There's many different answers, but I was a home brewer.
Mm-hmm.
But what's more interesting than that is how I became a home brewer.
Okay.
All right, so we had moved into the area about 2003 from Cape May, New Jersey, and I got assigned to Coast Guard headquarters. I was active duty Coast Guard, and we were at the Quantico getting groceries at the commissary. Then we popped over to the package store. So in the package store, Missy, my wife, started talking to a coworker at the church she was working at.
Mm-hmm.
So as she was talking to her friend, I said, well, I might as well just talk to her husband. I don't know this guy. And his name was Bill. So I'm talking to Bill, and I was telling him, so we're in a package store, I was telling him how much I love beer. And he goes, yeah, me too. And then he goes, I love it so much, I brew my own. And I looked at him, I said, what? You can brew your own beer? So, and what I've realized as we go through life, those tiny little brushes with other people that may seem
innocuous at the time,
that have the biggest impact on the rest of your life. Because if that meeting never happened, I would have never gotten to home brewing, and Barley Naked, this center gathering spot for North Stafford, would not be here because of that one simple meeting.
So the reason I'm chuckling is because when I asked you that, do you remember what you told me?
I don't remember.
It was a hobby that got out of hand.
It did. Okay, so yeah, it did get out of hand. I would drive all the way up to Seven Corners, up by DC, and that's where I was getting a lot of my home brewing supplies at the time. And the owner of the shop, his name was Steve, he goes, Barry, if you're not expanding your hobby, you're expanding your habit. And I said, oh, okay. So from that little, again, these little tiny things that just are seeds. So I started expanding my homebrew setup at the house, and it just got bigger and bigger. And I started out with a 2.5 gallon Mr. Beer kit, and then I ended up doing 15 gallon half barrel batches, in my backyard. So it's it just got bigger and bigger, and then the neighbors liked the beer, and so one thing led to another, and then I got really crazy and just decided to open up a brewery.
I have a friend of mine, in fact, one of the brokers that works for me in the Tidewater area, and so we were talking the other day, and he said to me, he said, I don't know. I said, what do you mean? And he does a lot. And he goes, I seem to be getting invited to a lot of weddings, and they've said once they invite me, so do you think you can brew something for me? He said, so I don't know if I'm getting invited as a friend or as helping to have it. Well, how'd you start with Barley Naked, and how'd you come up with the name?
Okay, so I had a dream. Every home brewer that thinks of opening up a brewery at some point, they dream of this, and I literally had a dream. I woke up in the morning. I'm like,
Missy thought it was a nightmare.
well, no, she didn't know at the time. She didn't, because it was a literal dream. So I went downstairs. I grabbed my computer, put it on my lap. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's a good name for a brewery. That's a really good name. Well, let me see if anybody has it. So I typed in Barley Naked Beer, and then I typed in Barley Naked, and nothing came up. So the first thing I went to GoDaddy, and I secured all the URLs, and this is in 2008. We didn't open until 10 years later, 2018. So I've been sitting on all these URLs with Barley Naked in it, and then I even went so far as to link Barley Naked and malt beverages, and I went to the Trade and Patent Office, and I linked those together for my use. But I had to keep renewing it every year because it wasn't actually in use. All right, and then finally in 2018 we opened up Barley Naked, and today the Barley Naked logo is a registered mark, and it's uncontestable at this time. So from 2008 to having a dream about the name of Barley Naked as a brewery, and to see that come to life today, it is quite inspiring. It really is. So much so, the first time I went out to the Great American Beer Festival in Denver, Colorado, I was proudly wearing my Barley Naked shirts, and a lot of the people, they had never heard of that brewery, my brewery, and they're like, that's a great name. That's a great name for a brewery. So, even the people in the industry recognize it's a very unique and catchy name.
Yep. And so one of the things that Kathy and I have talked about is the fact that when it comes down to it, this is such a friendly place. For those people that remember Cheers, etc., and my concern is that people don't recognize me as Cliff or Norm, but the idea is that people come in here routinely.
Actually, you're kind of close to Cliff in looks.
Oh, thank you.
Like he's the mailman top on.
So I have another brewery for you guys. No, anyway. But it's just so friendly. The people that work here are friendly. You and Missy, and the atmosphere that you build here is fantastic. One of the things that I think is neat is about your head brewer, your brewmaster.
Yes.
All right, tell me a little bit about your brewmaster.
Okay, Brady Fox. So this is just before COVID. He was attending JMU. I don't know this young man, but apparently there's a lot of people in North Stafford that know him because he played baseball here at North Stafford, and he was a good pitcher.
Okay.
I mean, a really good pitcher. And so anyways.
And now he's serving other pitchers.
Yes, he is. Literally. But no, so one day, Brady walks into the brewery and he goes, hey, I'm here on school break from JMU. We had a brewing class and we made this beer, and he actually brought the beer in for me to try. And he wanted to know if he can work here for the summer. And I'm like, I'm trying to just make ends meet, trying to meet payroll. And I said, okay, Brady, I tell you what, you can brew here over the summer, but this is an internship. I'm not paying you anything. And he goes, okay, because that was kind of the assignment. What I didn't know at the time, the assignment was just to work the summer over the brewery, and then come back and report, I guess. And but after a week of Brady being here, and I'm here all the time. I'm running the business, I'm serving, I'm brewing beer, and then I look around and Brady is here as much as I am. And I'm like, Brady, you're here as much as I am. I gotta pay you. I can't have you just here all summer not get paid. So he went on the payroll, and then that was in like 2020 or 2019. And then 2020 rolls around and COVID in March, and then he came back and he continued to brew and everything, and yeah. So
what was the result?
The result was okay. So I like Brady a lot. He's as a young man, he is one of the finest young persons I could know. And so and what would happen at the end of the night, once we're done serving, we would sit around after everybody left, have a couple of beers, and we'd just talk, and then we'd lock up the building, then go home. And this one night, it was myself, my daughter Brianna, and Brady were here. So the three of us, we were serving, then we cleaned up, we closed up. We're sitting around having a couple of beers, just like we always do at the end of the night. And then I said, oh, I forgot something. I have to go home right now. And I just got to go. So I left my beer there, and I left Bree, my daughter, and Brady, now my son-in-law.
Yeah, that's where I was headed with this.
Now my son-in-law, and Bree was so mad that I did that I got out of there, and I left those two up to their own vices. But they actually stayed there for about an hour and so, and they just sat and talked, and they kind of hit it off. And I don't want to say I had that big of a hand in it, but I did kind of set the table for them, just a tiny bit. But no, and now that they recently got married in May, and it was a beautiful wedding down at Livingston Winery, and a lot of the people from the brewery went down to the wedding, and they just had a wonderful time. It was a great wedding. It was a really good. So both my daughters were there, Sam and Bree, and Sam's husband Slayman. And obviously Brady was here because they got married. Yeah. So no, I'm very happy with both my son-in-laws.
Outstanding. And so the other thing I think that people ought to know is that Barley Naked, being a vet, being a 20-year Navy vet, okay, the fact that this is a veteran-owned business,
yes,
is important to me. I think because of I think when you look at Stafford County, there are so many veterans, okay, whether they served a career or served a few years, et cetera, or even dependents or kids, that a veteran-owned business is near and dear to our hearts. And so how many years did you spend in the Coast Guard?
29 years.
29 years?
Yes.
So it was a short term.
It was supposed to be a lot shorter, but I managed to squeak out 29.
Yes. Some of us have like when I graduated from the academy, I had a senior officer look at me and go, so Mark, you're going to make it a career? And I guess I was in 3 years, and I'm thinking, man, so how do I answer this? So, but the fact that you take care of veterans, that you take care of first responders. I know that different events that I've had for my company, Fathom Serves, when we do something in the community, you've been instrumental in that. You've helped with a food drive for me. You've helped with Toys for Tots.
Yes, sir.
And there are different things that you do for veterans groups. And I think that's critical. But I also, it's not just veterans groups. You do a lot with Serve and some other charities that you partake in. So you look at yourself as, yes, a small business owner, but you also look at yourself as a member of the community and involved in making our community and our residents better
absolutely.
off. So I think that's critical.
No, it's important. We do give a lot to arts programs at the local schools.
While you're talking, I'm going to have a beer.
Yeah. So yeah, what's funny, the first year it was Mountain View High School, and we love Mountain View so much. We want to get an ad in the play program. But as soon as they found out it was Barley Naked and it's a brewery, and it's like, we can't put that into a high school play. And but somehow it kind of slipped in some foreign language. And even today, I still give to programs, even if they don't put us in their program, I still
community.
Give money to the community, yes. Serve is a big one. Go for Bo, helping children worldwide. That's a 501c. We give to that one, but that's through our local church, through Ebenezer United Methodist Church. That's a huge, Go for Bo is a big run, and all the money that's raised actually go to Bo in Sierra Leone, Africa. And that money goes to help build out that hospital there. Oh, wow. And the church goes there once a year, and they do some really good work. St. Patrick's Day, we start rolling in, and then we'll try to do a couple of different odd events. We have dog adoption days, where we're working with Bobby's Pit Bulls and rescue. And then we'll try to do something for the 4th of July. We tried every year to do something for the 4th of July, but I've come to realize that's a backyard barbecue day for the family. It's not to get away and then come to a brewery.
Well, having worked that, it's also a melt in your trousers and shorts day. I mean,
it's hot.
It's hot. So
guaranteed a thunderstorm too. But as we get later on in the year, then we roll into our biggest event, and Barley Naked has been recognized as this is the #1 community event in North Stafford, and that is the Barley Naked Oktoberfest.
Yeah. That's a blast.
And yes, it is. It is a huge, and we have this incredible Oompa band, Edelweiss, from Owings Mill, Maryland, and they travel all the way down here just for this event. And they've been doing it for 5-6 years in a row. So it's good that we have them in our back pocket to make this a very authentic event. And then we just kind of roll through the year, and then it's wash, rinse, and repeat, and try to make new friends and make everybody happy.
Well, you do a great job, Barry.
Well, thank you.
And Kathy and I love coming here. Our friends have come here, and again, to me the significant, you talk about, and I have friends of mine that have told me. In fact, there's a book about it. It's called a God wink. Okay, not to get faith-based or anything, but it's called a God wink, which is things that happen that carry you to something else or that reinforce something. And the fact that when Chris and I came here to have a beer and you were closed and you were like, no, we want you to be happy. We want to serve you. To me, that was a God wink. And that's why, Kathy and I have been to other breweries, and I'm not, and they have great beer. But that's why we come here, is because of the community.
I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not going to disparage any other breweries, but I've been to a brewery, and it's like a couple minutes before they're supposed to open, and the door's locked. They see me out there pulling on the door, and they just kind of look at you. It's like, we're not open yet.
I've never seen that here.
I promise that will never happen at Barley Naked, because the reality of everything is I can go to a gas station and buy beer. I can go to a gas station. So if this is your business, you sell beer, why would you even think about doing that? And I vow to say, no, somebody wants a beer and I'm inside and I have the time, absolutely. Because this is what this place is all about, is just making people feel like they're part of a family.
Well, anecdotally, there have been a couple of times, and I being a business owner and having, worked for family businesses in other capacities, I know that a business owner's time is valuable, okay? I worked at a place where at 5 to 5, Christmas Eve, there were people coming in, and it's like, I want to buy a couch. You want to buy a couch? Okay, yeah, I didn't get something for my wife. And do you have it in a different? No, that's what it is. It's fine, So I try and be very mindful. And so there are times I pulled up here just before, and Missy's been out there, and she looks at me, she goes, come on in, come on. I'm like, nope, that's okay. but I know I'm welcome.
Yes.
But, you know, I'm welcome to come in here. So thanks, Barry. I appreciate your time. And I appreciate you hosting this.
Well, Mark, thank you for inviting and stopping by Barley Naked to highlight this amazing business that I truly love.
Okay.
Thank you.
And real quick, one of the funny things that I think that you do, and I don't remember you voting it this year. You told me you were going to vote. You dressed the vats. And did you have, did I miss that?
No. Okay, so we did dress all the vats.
Right.
I know it must drive Brady crazy because we have either Christmas lights or
Right.
green lights for St. Patrick's Day, and we do decorate each one of the vats as a different character, especially for Halloween.
And Halloween, yeah.
Yes, and you'll see like a vampire or a bat or
The vat bat.
Yeah, and we did talk about having people come in and decorating the vats individually as a competition, but we only have 6, so I guess we could try to do that at some point. But that would be fun, especially for Halloween. You know, people can get carried away for that. But we have to be mindful. We can't block any of the man-way doors or the valve stems or anything like that. So,
Okay. Barry, thank you very much.
Mark, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
You know, Mark, I think it was interesting to hear Barry say that, you know, you can go to any gas station and buy beer, right? But you come here for the experience. He's very aware of that. And so I think that is the mark of a true local business who values the community, values their customer. I thought that was really cool. And when it comes to moving into the area, I mean, I guess people can go anywhere, right? I mean, they can go all over from Northern Virginia down to Fredericksburg to Richmond. I mean, this whole area is becoming a megalopolis of Washington, D.C. But when we look at the market of people who are moving here, what types of homes are available? What are we finding on the market? What's available to them today?
So looking at some figures today, the vast majority of the homes that are on the market right now are detached homes. It doesn't mean that townhomes are not available. It just means when you look at the proportionality of it, that detached homes are outpacing the townhomes. And when we look at, like, everybody will ask me, what about days on the market? And when I tell them days on the market, they, oh my gosh, you know, that wasn't what it was like before. Well, first of all, we're in January. And so my feeling is that if there's a house listed active right now, anywhere from basically Thanksgiving to the middle of February, if it's listed, the people are really serious about selling. Because normally people don't want to put their house on the market over Christmas, the early part of the year. And if people are looking for a house, they're really, really serious about buying a house. And that doesn't say that people that list their house, you know, in the spring are not serious about selling, or people, but the constraints of the market and family time and holidays, et cetera, things like this can diminish it. So when we look at this right now in Stafford County, and I look at the whole of Stafford County, the average days on the market, the median days on the market are 64. Now, again, people will go, oh my gosh, it's 64 days, that's 2 months. Oh my gosh, are we in a buyer's market? No, look at the time of the year, and also the fact that it's 64 days, and when you compare it to 2020, 2021, that is much larger, but it is much more normal, okay? That's not outlandish. And what it also counts, what it also counts is that when you look at a median, it's right in the middle. So yes, 64 is the middle, which means that yes, there are about the same amount of homes, almost the same amount of homes that are on the market longer than on the market shorter. Now,
and how has that changed, I guess, from this time last year or maybe this past summer? What's changed?
So, and again, can be an unusual time. Okay, if we do this interview and talk again, when we talk again in March or April, it's going to be I believe it's going to be a whole different situation. But if you look at the median being 64 days on the market, and we are mid-January, which means that the house that was in the median went on the market about Thanksgiving. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So people are more reluctant to move in that period of time. So when we talk about this in March or April, it's going to be a different shift. So median days on the market has increased, but we're looking at this segment of time. When we look at townhomes, essentially when we look at townhomes, active is 50 days. The median is 50 days for a townhome. But it's still in that, it's a 2-week difference.
It's not too crazy.
No. But, I think one of the things that has happened is that the consumer in 20 and 21, 19, 20, and 21, we had exceedingly low interest rates. We had an exceedingly small amount of homes on the market, proportional to buyers. So median or average days on the market was so different. Interest rates, and people say they skyrocketed. No, they went up to probably about a norm, okay? And what that did is when the consumer was used to this and now you're here, it changes the perspective. If you have a house that you're looking to sell and your mortgage rate is here and now the mortgage rate is here, then the reluctance to sell is there. So I think Stafford County is a great market for things, though, because of the things that we talked about: proximity, opportunities here, things along these lines. And I think it's going to be a good market when it comes down to it. I think it's going to be a good market, good spring market.
If someone wants to get into this market, into Stafford County, what price-wise, on median, on average, what are they looking at?
So right now, active listings, okay? When you look at the median for the price is $579, okay? And so probably 5-6 years ago, it was closer to $5, okay? Maybe not overly appreciative, but we've also had a lot of new development, and most of the new developments are above 500. So that encourages prices to go up, okay? But 580 median price for active markets, for active homes. When you look at sold homes in the last 90 days, it's almost the same. It's a little less, so we're still seeing some appreciation here. And again, that's one of the questions I get. Well, will my home appreciate? Well, if you buy it this month and sell it in 6 months, there's a good chance you're not going to get that appreciation. If you buy it now and sell it in 6 years, I think there's a great chance that you're going to have appreciation. People, if you look at some of the studies going back into the 70s, 80s, etc., even before that, people looked at their home as an investment, okay? I graduated high school in 1973, and I'm still in contact with a lot of my high school classmates. Many of them still live outside of Philly, but there's a vast number that do not. But most of our parents didn't move outside of that area, so the houses were kept longer, okay? But there's still the mindset, even for me, and I think a lot of people younger, it's an investment. But because our very mobile society, people are moving from job to job at times, and sometimes that may be even in the state, but it still is going to require a move.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so I will tell you my philosophy, and that is that when you buy a home, okay, I think there's a segment of the population, the consumer, that doesn't look at it as an investment. Okay, but want to reap the benefits of an investment.
Right.
Okay, where holding it, staying there, doing things for a longer period of time is crucial to that.
Yeah.
So you're relying on the market condition and paying down your mortgage. Okay, so I think that that's something critical that people have to understand. Is the home is not just someplace you're raising a family but it is an investment. Okay, and so I think that that's important.
And are you seeing like fewer people? I know my parents, they bought their home in Woodbridge in 1990, and recently in 2023, I think they sold it, and that was their retirement, right? That was their. Are fewer people doing that sort of thing these days?
I think it's the community mobility.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things you take a look at is we're in a very heavily military area. No matter whether you're talking Arlington, down into Fredericksburg, and even west, it's a military area. So military moves every 3 years or so. Okay. Ryan joke is, not happy with your CO, wait a few years, you'll have a new CO. Okay. Or you're not happy where you're working, like when I was in the Navy Annex, wait a few years, you're going to move. So that I think contributes to it. But I think that, so if you look at National Association of Realtors numbers, for years it was 6 to 7 years that people stayed in a home. Okay? So what happened in 2021, 2022? Interest rates went up. What's the average time that people are spending in their homes now? Any guess?
No.
11 years.
11 years, okay.
So wait a minute. So 6, 7 years before, now it's 11, 4 years later. And maybe I'm interpolating this a little different than I should, but that tells me, to me, that people are staying those additional years because of interest rates, because of the market. Buyers are like, hey, I'm not getting into a bidding war anymore. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Right. Sellers going, wait a minute, I can't go from 3.625 to 6.725, I'm not selling.
So that kind of leads me into my next question, because I know you talk about bidding war. You know, we saw that in this area in the early 2000s, the late 90s, and now and so forth. I know when my wife and I, we bought our home in Stafford County in 2014, we had a lot of cash buyers in the market who were coming in and buying homes for cash, fixing them up, flipping them, whatever. So if someone wants to get into this market now, you talked about that you're looking at, median 500,000 or more.
579.
579. We're approaching the 600,000 mark. So that's your budget that you're working with. But what are some of the other things that people need to know if they want to come into this market and they want to buy? What should they come prepared to wrap their head around? What documents should they have? Where should their mindset be?
So I would say it's a split, okay, in their first thing that they do. And I'm going to take two different tacks on this. And my realtor colleagues are going to go, blasphemy, okay? But I looking at the experience of it, and that is sit down and find a realtor through word of mouth. Now, we have Zillow, we have Truly, and that's all well and good. But talk to somebody that you know that's bought a house. Find that agent. And again, I'm not saying that agents that you find on any of those third-party websites are not good. That's not what I'm saying. But when you talk to your neighbor and they say, oh, I use such and such, and they were great, you now have a source of somebody who actually used that individual and you have a relationship with it, okay? So that, I'd say, is the first part. Find out from different people. Okay. The second thing, and this is where my colleagues are going to go, blasphemy, and that is talk to your bank or talk to your neighbor and find out who their loan is with. And find some information, do some research, find out. One of the things that I think that people are neglecting in this is the fact that, oh, I've owned a home before, so I'm not a first-time home buyer. Oh, no, you are. Well, that's impossible. When did you sell when did you last own? 2017. Well, by the rules, you are considered a first-time home buyer because you haven't owned a home in 3 years. So there are programs through through VHDA, okay? There are other places and things along these lines within mortgage companies or banks or credit unions that may have the opportunity for you to avail yourself where there may be credits or things like this. So the idea, and again, I think it's less, I believe it's probably less here than maybe some other parts of the country or state, But the conventional wisdom is, oh my gosh, I have 20% down. Yeah, no, you don't. Are you a veteran? Well, yes. Well, you know, if you don't already own a home, and in many cases, even if you do currently own a home with a VA loan, you can qualify. I get people that say, and I teach a National Association of Realtors course that I've taught nationally and locally and statewide called MRP, Military Relocation Professional. And I always bring in a loan officer who is very experienced in VA loans. And you may have 2 homes active with VA mortgages because it's your eligibility and the area. So I say, to give you, for instance, for the military people, if you bought a house in a lower, very much lower price area of the country, and you bought it with VA, I get people that come here and go, I can't use my VA loan. Oh yeah, you can, because of what the prices of homes are here and what the VA looks at in your eligibility. So it is not unlikely that you could have a home over here and still buy here. You may not be able to buy $1 million home, but you're still going to be able to use a VA loan. And even if it's higher, you may have a smaller down payment. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, you're going to cut that out, right? You may have a smaller down payment. FHA, it's 3.5%, but in Virginia there are programs for new home buyers with grants and also second deeds of trust.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're also conventionalized. Now, thank God, in general, we're not going back to what I used to call as a fog and mirror loan. So, Uriah, you want to buy a house?
Right.
Great. Well, here, let me pass the mirror. Oh, well, you fogged the mirror. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have a job? Yes, I do. I don't want to know what you make.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you think you make. Mm-hmm. And it's a no-doc loan. Well, yes, there's some of those still in use, but the constraints are much greater.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think some people feel I can't buy a home because I already have a VA loan.
Yeah.
I've owned a home before. I don't have the 20% down. And so the reason I say talking to a lender is, if nothing else, you may get some guidance and some wisdom to carry you through to when you're talking with the realtor. Mm-hmm. My feeling also is if you're talking to a realtor first, which is a great idea, we usually have lenders who we're comfortable with. I always laugh, and again, you know me, I'm a little bit cynical at times and also a little bit of a smart aleck.
No.
No, not me, no. Barry's over there laughing too. But it always drives me crazy, and being really upfront about it, when I have somebody that comes into me and I go, okay, well, let me have you talk to one of the loan officers that I'm very comfortable with, and feel me, no. I've got a loan officer. Well, who is it? Well, I can't remember their name.
Right.
Well, how do you know them? Well, they're my brother's fraternity brother's sister's brother-in-law's son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you talk to the agent, a realtor is going to tell you, these are some of the people that I work with. Go investigate.
And plus, it's also not just as you would a real estate agent who knows the area. You also would like to work with a broker who also knows the area.
Knows the area, knows the market, and and again, a little bit of blasphemy here is I get people that say, I don't want to work with a new agent. Well, everybody has to start someplace. And in addition to that, there are members of our community that think they know it all. Of the realtor community, I know it all. Mm-hmm. And with the new agent, a lot of times they have a mentor, they have people in the office, so they may only have 6 months experience, but they got 160 years behind them. Mm-hmm. So, and again, I would tell people don't shy away just because somebody's new.
Yeah. I want to touch on that know-it-all bit and being a mentor, because I've known you for a long time, and I know that you're
sorry.
Yes, you're definitely a smart aleck. We'll say that. But no. You are the type of, you mentor, you teach, right? That's because you love your business and you love what you do and you love to mentor the next generation. I've seen you do it. But you're also the type of person who, if you don't know something, you will point someone to the resource to go find out, or better yet, go find out for them.
Right.
So if you just talk about your mentorship, your teaching, and why you do it, and how all that funnels into your overall business.
So I've been doing this since 97. I'm sorry. I got here in 91, started in 97. And I will tell you what chaps me a little bit is when I'm talking to it, and I'm getting into what your question is. What chaps me about sometimes is I'll get another agent who may not know who I am, and I question something they're doing, and they'll go, "Well, Mark, you must be new. I've been doing this for just fill in the blank years." And it's like, well, obviously you haven't been doing it very well for all, if that's your lead-in line.
Yeah.
And so, which drives me to the answer to your question, which is, so I was an instructor in the Navy. I was an instructor, soccer referee instructor. One of the things I wanted to do when I retired from the Navy is actually teach high school, middle school or high school. So people have said that by definition should have had my head examined at that point. But I've always enjoyed instruction. In 2005, a good friend of mine, he's been a mentor to me in a number of different things, pulled me into real estate instruction. And to me, as much as I love leading my agents, being the state broker, being a managing broker locally, as much as I love working with buyers and sellers and seeing that success, and in some cases it's the first home and that joy, in some cases it's getting the home sold because it's kept them out of bankruptcy or made their financial situation better, that's always rewarding. But being able to mentor and instruct is really something important to me. And the reason being is that, it's funny, I just had something on this that I was talking to somebody about, is I'm concerned that the public has a misimpression on us.
Of realtors as a whole.
Realtors in general, okay? I think that for the most part, people see us as a transactional necessity or even a transactional impediment. And in my career, both on the podium, which is a Navy term for an instructor, both on the podium and in the marketplace, the vast majority of realtors don't see themselves as transactional. They don't see themselves as, I'm in it to get a paycheck or money. They see themselves as professionals. They see themselves as a very important cog in the wealth building, generational wealth building. They see themselves as a very important cog in the protection of the consumer. And so the reason I mentor and the reason I instruct is to further that professionalism. If somebody, when they're sealing up the columbarium at the Naval Academy, as they shove my little urn in there, somebody says he made an impact because the community was better, our real estate community was better, and we became more professional. That's important to me. But I think that if you poll a vast number of my colleagues, they'll say, as they put me in the ground, as they put whatever, the fact that somebody's going to turn around and go that they did it ethically, they did it professionally, and they looked out for their clients. And so that's the reason why I do this instruction. That's the reason why I mentor. That's the reason why I instruct nationally and locally, et cetera, statewide, is because if I can be a minor contributor to the professionalism and get the public to understand this is a profession, if I can get the newer members of the realtor community to understand this is a profession, there's nothing wrong with working an hourly job. Okay, I've done it. Okay, more times than
Yeah.
But if my colleagues don't look at this as a profession, they're probably better off at Target or Walmart or Shoppers or
Working
something
that
along
hourly
those like
job.
that. Yeah. But we have to look at this as a profession, and I think that part of that is the consumer to hold us to a standard. So when people come and go, oh, okay, that didn't go well. I need to be held to a standard. My client wanted to know this, and this, and this, and I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be a professional, I need to be prepared. So I think the consumer needs to understand this as a profession, and we are not just transactional. But the consumer should have higher expectations of us to make sure that we are professional, that they hire professionals. August of 2024, there was a settlement with NAR and in a lawsuit. And somebody said, well, what do you think about this? And I said, well, first of all, we're going to have to be better negotiators for our clients. And second of all, it's going to make sure that we, and I have my own opinions about the settlement, which I won't go into, because I don't want my name attached to a lawsuit. But I think that it also, the opportunity is there for us to show our professionalism, our professional worth, and our value.
Yeah. And if someone who is looking for a career change and looking to get into that environment and looking for having a mentor like yourself, how can they join your team? I know you're always looking to expand your team and bring new people into the profession. Mm-hmm. What can they do to join your team?
So the first thing is to give me a call or to email me or to text me. Yes, I am elderly, okay, as far as the state's definition, and I do text and I do emails.
Yeah, you're very with it.
Yeah,
you're
so
very
anyway, but I'm not old. But anyway, but the bottom line to it is contact me. And if you think, well, that's a great idea, I don't know if I want to work for that guy, then contact a local brokerage.
Yeah.
And find out what it's about. It's funny, I haven't taught a principles class in years, and I may actually go back into doing that. I usually teach continuing education and certifications and designations and broker classes. But I always tell people, look, this is, you are owning your small business. We talked about small businesses earlier.
Yeah.
Every realtor is the owner of a small business, okay? And Barry didn't open the brewery and go, okay, well, I'm out of cash. What do I do now? They have to understand that it's a profession, it's a business, so there are resources that you have to have. But when it comes down to it, to get into the business, you have to understand that it is a commitment. And I guess this is the Navy in me, okay? But I phrase it that you eat what you kill. Mm-hmm. Okay, nobody's paying you a salary. Now there's a brokerage that will do something like that. Nobody's paying you a salary. You get up in the morning. A great friend of mine who has since passed, Lee Odoms, who's greatly respected in the community, and I'm missing. He gave me something, and it's a saying about lions and gazelles on the African plain. And it was that basically every morning the lion gets up, and it better be faster than the slowest gazelle. Every morning the gazelle gets up and it better be faster than the fastest lion. But that's our community. That's what we do. Yeah. But the other part to it is, can't get focused on the money. You have to get focused on doing it right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I'm more than willing to sit down and talk to anybody that is interested in joining the real estate community. Yeah. And I'm more than happy. I'd love to talk to anybody who may be interested in making a change in their brokerage. Brokerages are great, but sometimes brokerages are not the one brokerage is not right for somebody and something else is. And I'll be honest with the individual if I think that it's better to go work for somebody else or in a different business model. But I'd love to talk to people. I'm always looking for great, strong, professional, and ethical individuals.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Mark, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for coming out and talking about this great community we call Stafford County that you and I both live in. I think it's fantastic. Thank you to Barry Boyd, who had us in today to talk about the brewery and to give us some fine samples of some fine beer. You got to come down here again.
I had multiple samples.
Yep.
I had a couple of samples.
and who knows, we might have another one before we hit the door. But the door is located on Garrisonville Road here at Tech Parkway here in North Stafford, Barley Naked. Thank you for having us in. And of course, as you heard Barry talk earlier, St. Patrick's Day is big. Oktoberfest here at Barley Naked, even bigger.
And they're great events.
Yeah, fantastic.
You'll get to meet Kathy and myself.
So come on down. And as we wrap up here, how can people get in touch with you if they have real estate questions or looking to make a move? How should they contact you?
So my email is mark@markworrilow.com. I am on, my phone number is 703-244-8702. Pick up my phone routinely.
The man doesn't
text.
sleep. No, he doesn't sleep. He's up all the time with new ideas and working for you.
I have an Instagram account. I have Facebook, and have LinkedIn, so you can search me on all that. But I'm here to talk to anybody that wants to talk real estate.
That's
My
fantastic.
wife will probably roll her eyes, but that's okay.
Well, thank you all for joining us here on this podcast. Thank you for Mark for doing it. Again, thanks to our host, Barley Naked. And for more local news, go to potomaclocal.com and sign up for our free daily email newsletter. I send that thing out every day at 4 o'clock, chock full of local headlines you're just not going to find anywhere else. potomaclocal.com email newsletter.
And that's the truth. And thank you, Uriah, for doing this.
Oh, thank you.
And Barry, thanks.